Hello students, I am Dr. Krupa Rasne, Professor and Head ENC Department, Jain College of Engineering, Belgavi. Okay, so let us now continue with the fourth video of Module 1, Power Electronics, 7th semester ENC. So in this earlier videos, we have seen introduction of power electronics, application of power electronics. We have also seen the different types of semiconductor devices like diodes, thyristors, transistors types also like MOSFET, IGBT, SIT, and we have also seen the control characteristics of power devices. And now in this particular video, let us concentrate on types of power converters or types of power electronic circuits. So for the control of electric power supplied to the load or the equipment or machineries, or for power conditioning, the conversion of electric power from one form to another is necessary, and the switching characteristics of the power semiconductor devices facilitate these conversions. So whenever we want a particular requirement for the load, like load could be AC or load could be DC, then irrespective of what the input is AC or DC, I am supposed to supply what the load requires. So power devices are basically used for the conversions from a particular input to a required output. The thyristerized power converters are referred to as the static power converters, and they perform the function of power conversion by converting the available input power supply into the output of desired form. Okay, now let us look at the types of converters or types of power electronic circuits. So basically we have got about 6 types. First one is the diode rectifier, which is basically also called as the uncontrolled rectifier. Then we have got the controlled rectifier, which is also called as the line commuted converter or AC to DC converter. It is also a rectifier, but it is a controlled rectifier because here we are going to use SCR instead of the diode. Third is the AC voltage controller converters, that is AC input is controlled at the output. Again you are getting AC only, but of a different AC value. Next is DC choppers, DC to DC converter, input is DC, output is also going to be a variable DC voltage. And next is inverters that converts DC to AC. And last we have got the static switches. These switches are nothing but only connectors. So whatever is at the input, when these switches are on, the same input will be coming at the output. So basically these are the converters which are required to suit the load requirements with respect to the available supply input. Okay. So let us look at what is diode. So looking at the first one, AC to DC converters or rectifiers. As seen in this figure, you see the input is an AC supply voltage, right? And the output is a DC, plus minus shown means DC. And what we have is nothing but the rectifiers. So in uncontrolled rectifier, I am going to convert a fixed AC to a fixed DC, and the device that is used for converter will be a normal diode. So it converts fixed AC to a fixed DC. In line commutated, that is in controlled rectifier, suppose I am not using diode here, I am using SCR, then I will be converting a fixed AC to a variable DC. Okay. So this is basically a single phase full wave uncontrolled rectifier circuit. Uncontrolled because I'm using diode. I don't have any controlling element like gate for diode. So if you see in this particular circuit, this is an AC supply. Okay, it's a full wave center tap circuit. So I've got diode D1 connected like this and diode D2 connected like this. They are connected together at the cathode, and the load is taken from the common point of cathode to the center tap. So the load is R and output is taken across the R. Okay. So because it is center tap, I am going to get 2 volt sinusoidal voltages here plus minus Vs, and here I'll get one more voltage plus minus Vs. This voltage will be same as this voltage. Okay. So considering now that I'm applying the positive cycle of the input. So this is your input waveform here. This is the input that is being given sinusoidal, and we have got 0, and this will be pi, and this will be 2 pi when I draw it on the scale with omega t, and this is the waveform which we call it as Vm sin omega t, which is Vs. So the supply voltage is Vs. Here you can see Vs. Yes, so this is Vm sin omega t. So the sinusoidal input is drawn here, and Vm is nothing but the peak value of the sine wave. Okay, so I have got Vm here, I have got minus Vm here. Now during the positive half of the cycle, right, that time this is terminal is plus and this terminal is minus. So this gets induced here. So this is plus and this is minus. Now because this is plus, this diode is going to be connected, anode of the diode is connected to plus, so this diode is forward biased. This is minus which is connected to anode, hence D2 will be reverse biased. So the current is going to flow from the positive terminal. Always start with the positive terminal, because D1 is on, it will flow like this. It will come here and then through the load back to the input. No current can flow through this because this is off. So how the current is flowing through the load? From this right side to left side. So I write this as plus and this as minus. So whatever is at the input, at the same time what we can look at is, if this is the supply voltage and this is the load, this diode when it is turned on, this positive gets connected here and this minus gets connected here. So whatever is here at the input, because diode is on, it will get come across the resistor. So this is the output waveform that we are drawing across R. Whatever is at the input means this positive wave is at the input. So that positive, because D1 conducts, the same voltage will come at the output. Okay, and this circuit will remain open. Next, during the negative half of the cycle, what happens is this becomes minus, this becomes plus. So this is minus and this is plus, right? So now because this is minus, D1 is going to be reverse biased. Because this is plus, this diode will be forward biased. So now this circuit will be open. Open means no current will flow, and this circuit will be in on state. So how the current will flow? From positive, positive is here that time, from positive through D2, again through R node, it is again flowing from right to left, right, and back to the input. Earlier also it was flowing in the same direction, right to left. So I had marked it plus minus. Now also when D2 is conducting, it is flowing in the same direction. What does it mean? For both the half cycle, the current through the load is always in the same direction. Hence, the voltage now here, it will be with plus here and minus here, right? And this diode acting like a switch on. Whatever is here plus will be connected here, whatever is minus here will be connected here. So it is nothing but another rectified positive signal. Since the current for both the half cycles flow in the same direction, right, you are going to get same direction waveform for both the cycles. So this is your full wave rectifier with a center tap transformer. So what I'm doing, I'm converting AC to DC. And since I have no control, this means I have, if this is Vm, I'll be getting Vm only, right? If the frequency is this, whatever is the frequency, I'll be getting the same at the output. So I have no control. Whatever is there, that gets rectified and comes out. Next is single phase full wave control rectifier using SCR. So now I am going to simply replace the diode with a SCR. So two SCRs are there instead of D1, D2. Now I have got T1 and T2. Same again center tap, right? And this will conduct, that time this will not conduct. this will conduct when it will not conduct. Okay, so they cannot conduct simultaneously, otherwise it will be a short. Okay, the transformer points get shorted and it will damage. So now during the positive half cycle, what happens? Who is forward biased? T1 is forward biased, T2 is reverse biased. Okay, but will it start conducting here? No, it will not conduct here because so the gate is not yet come. When is the gate coming? We are assuming gate arrives at an angle of alpha. Okay, before 90, this is 90 degrees and this is 180 degrees. So before 90, let's say alpha is an angle which comes here and trigger pulse comes. So it is at this point that your switch is going to turn on. And at that time, what is the input voltage? Input voltage will be from here. And till pi it is going to be conducting. So T1 will conduct from where to where? From alpha to pi. Okay. So in the negative direction, this will be negative, this will be positive. SCR will be in forward condition. Again it will wait for the firing pulse. So this alpha will be pi plus alpha next. So it will trigger that time. And what is the input that time? Otherwise this is plus, right? Plus comes here, so it is going to be rectified only. So from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, T2 is going to conduct. So which are the conduction angle for T1? T1 conducts from alpha to pi, T2 conducts from pi plus alpha to 2 pi. Okay, so both here also you are converting AC signal to DC only, but by controlling this alpha, I can bring this alpha here or here. You can see the area that actually comes at the output, the complete half cycle or part of the half cycle. How much of the area comes at the output depends where the firing angle is. Hence, I can control the average value of the output by controlling the alpha. Hence, it is called as the controlled rectifier circuit. So, controlled rectifier circuits, what are the applications? So, AC to DC power converters are widely used in speed control of DC motors. So, if you have seen DC motors and we normally use this AC to DC converters. It is also used in UPS, that is uninterrupted power supplies. It is used in HVDC transmission, that is high voltage DC transmission, and battery chargers. Okay, so now let us move on with the next one, that is AC to AC converters or AC regulators. That means it, by the name itself, it tells it converts AC to AC only. So what is the fun in converting AC to AC? Well, I'll be converting a fixed AC to a variable AC. So let us look at this particular thing. The AC voltage controllers convert the constant frequency fixed voltage AC supply into variable AC voltage at the same frequency as the input using line commutation. We'll talk about commutation as nothing but it's switching off of the thyristor. Next is AC voltage regulator. It is also called as AC voltage regulator or RMS voltage controllers, and it is mainly used again for speed control of AC motors and speed control of fans, domestic, industrial, AC pumps. So this is the basic block diagram of AC to AC. You can see at the input you have got AC input voltage with a frequency Fs. So I'll write it as Vs and Fs. So this is your controller which is converting this AC to a variable AC. Okay, so the output will be an RMS value and can vary from 0 to the maximum RMS value V0 RMS. But the frequency will remain the same, that is Fs. This is the typical circuit for AC to AC voltage converter using the triac. So what is AC? AC means you have a positive and negative here. At the output also is going to be AC, so I have got a positive and negative. Since triac is a bidirectional device, you can trigger it both in the positive half cycle as well as when in the negative half cycle. So the current direction through the load will be like this when it is forward biased, And in the reverse bias, the current direction, this will be plus and this will be minus, and the current will flow in the reverse direction. Since the current through the load is flowing in opposite direction during the positive as and during the negative, you will get both the half cycles at the output. So this is AC to AC converter using the triac. Next is choppers or DC to DC converters. Choppers are power circuits which obtain power from a fixed voltage DC supply. So obviously input is DC and output is going to be DC. And input it will be a fixed DC and you are going to convert it to a variable DC. Getting the meaning? Okay. Does DC supply has any frequency? No. So they are also called as DC choppers or DC to DC converters, and they employ forced commutation to turn off the thyristors. We'll look into line commutation and forced commutation later on. DC choppers are further classified into several types depending on the direction of power flow and type of commutation. DC choppers are widely used again in speed control of DC motor from DC supply. Something like in vehicles, electric cars, the car's battery is DC and control also will be controlling a DC motor. Next is DC drives for suburban traction and also in switch mode power supplies. So we'll see these are the different application of choppers. Okay. So this is how your block diagram looks. You have got a DC supply at the input plus minus and output will be a variable DC output. Okay. So basically your chopper works on the principle of duty cycle. So what do you mean by that? So suppose I have got a continuous DC voltage. I am going to chop that DC voltage into an on time and off time. And during the on time, I allow the DC voltage to be there. And during the off time, I do not allow the DC voltage to be there. And what will be the actual, if I filter it out, I am going to get an average value of the output of the input voltage, that is equal to duty cycle into Vs. So output voltage is nothing but the average value. If I change the duty cycle or the on time, this average value can go up. Thereby I get a variable output voltage. Hence, I can get an output voltage varying from 0 to Vs simply by changing the on time, okay, and keeping the frequency or T same. So when I change the on time, what I'm changing is the duty cycle. So duty cycle is T1 upon T and output voltage is equal to the duty cycle into the input voltage. So if I change the duty cycle by changing T1, that is by changing the period T1, I can increase or decrease the voltage. So this is the basic principle of a chopper, that is your input supply voltage Vs is allowed to come to the load for some time, right? And other times it is not allowed to come. How long it is allowed to come, that will decide whether this average value will go up or it will come down. So how do I control this on time? It's basically you can use any power device here. Here in this figure we have used IGBT and we are applying a voltage VGE. As long as VGE is there, this transistor or IGBT is going to turn on and the input will get connected to the load. So whatever is at the input will come at the output. So input is Vs. So input at the output I will get Vs as long as VGE is at the input of this transistor between the gate and emitter. Now between T1 and T, the pulse coming to VGE is 0. So what happens? This switch will turn off. When this switch turns off, the input is no longer connected to the load. And from till what time? Till the duration T. So from T1 to T, no voltage is applied here. So this transistor is off and hence this supply is disconnected or removed from the load, and hence output will be 0. Okay, so how long to keep this depends upon how long I give the VGE. Okay, but as long as it is there, output will be Vs. And by controlling this on time, I can control the output voltage. So this is your chopper circuit, which basically converts fixed DC voltage of Vs, like this straight, to a variable DC voltage by controlling the duty cycle or the chopping period, on time period of the waveform. So next is the inverters or DC to AC converters. The inverters are basically used for converting DC power from a fixed voltage DC supply to an AC. We all have inverters at home, or many of us have. And what does inverters do? When the power supply goes, it starts giving the power to the loads that are connected inside our house. So your TV or lamps or fans, they will still continue to work because you have got an inverter at home. So inverter, what it is, basically it consists of a DC battery, and then that DC voltage is converted to AC because your loads are connected at home. We are working on AC supply. So most of all the loads at home are on AC. So your battery voltage needs to be converted to AC. That's why we use the word inverter. So the inverters are used to convert DC power from the fixed DC supply into an AC. Output voltage of variable frequency. Okay, so the output could be a very different frequency or it could be of the same frequency. And fixed or variable output AC voltage, but output AC voltage can be changed. The inverters also employ forced commutation method to turn off the thyristors. We'll see that later. Then applications of inverters are in industrial DC drives using induction and synchronous motors, and uninterrupted power supplies, UPS systems used for computers or computer labs. Now this is basically the inverter which converts input which is DC to an AC. Means what is AC? AC means the current that is flowing through the load should alternate. Okay. So how that is possible when input is DC? For that I will need 4 such semiconductor devices or 4 such switches connected like a bridge. Okay, and the load is connected in between the 4 switches. So I have got first switch, second switch, third switch and fourth switch. So input is plus and minus. So what I will do is first I will make M1 and M2 on. So if it is on, then and these two off. So the current will come here. It cannot flow here because this is off. It will flow through this. It will go through the load. It has to flow here because this is on and come back. So when these two are on, the current will always flow from plus to minus and you will get this positive. Okay. Now, when I want the negative to flow, what I will do is we will make this M1 and M2 off and we'll make M3 and M4 on. So in that case, the current will flow from plus, it cannot flow here, it will come here, go through M3. Now see, it will go through this load because this is off again. So it will go through the load, M4 is on, it will come like this and go. What we observe is for the second time, the current through the load is opposite to the previous. Previously, when these two are on, current was flowing like this. When these two are on, current is flowing in this direction. That means this is plus and this is minus. So what happens is during first time M1, M2, I will be getting positive. Okay. And during these two times, I'll be getting negative. Now for that to come, I have to apply the what? Gate voltages like that. Means this is basically the gate voltage for VG1 and VG2 for M1 and M2. Okay. So they will simultaneously turn on and output will be positive. Next from T by 2 to T means next 50% duty cycle we have considered. So for the next half cycle we are going to give the input G voltage VG3 and VG4 will be given simultaneously. Okay, so these two becomes on and that time this will be 0. So automatically these two will become off. So I'll be getting positive and I'll be getting negative. So what is input? DC. But what is output? I'm getting an AC which is alternating and has a frequency of period T. Okay. Next is, so we have studied all the converter circuits, that is controlled rectifiers, then uncontrolled rectifiers. We have seen AC to AC voltage, we have seen DC to DC voltage, then we have seen DC to AC inverters, and last was the static switches. Static switches are nothing but they act like a simple switch connecting the input to the output. They do not have any conversion. So if the input is AC, output will be AC. If input is DC, output will also be DC. Now let us look at something called as the peripheral effect. Peripheral means basically the effects that we are going to see because of the switching action of these devices. Now, if I look at any power converter system, what you are going to have? You will have an input source, you will have a power converter, output source, and to control output or regulate the output, I need a feedback. I have a control circuit which is going to control this power converter. These filters I am adding in order to remove the effects of called as the harmonics. Okay. So this is basically the general power converter system that we. Now, what are peripheral effects? The power converter operations are mainly by the switching of power semiconductor devices, and as a result, the power converters introduce current and voltage harmonics. I'm sure you have heard the word harmonics. They are basically made up of many frequencies and they are also unwanted AC signal components into the supply system and on the output of the converters. So what happens is switching on and off and the current being very high, the harmonics will be introduced both at the input side, that is supply side, as well as the output side, that is the load side. So these induced harmonics can cause problems of distortion of the output voltage, harmonic generation into the supply system, and interference with the communication and signaling circuits. So these are the three main effects, these harmonics that are generated because of switching on and off these devices, because we are using them as a switch only. So when they move from on state to off state, these harmonics are going to be generated, which normally has three effects: at the supply, at the output, and also interference with the communication and signaling circuits if they are closely located. Hence, the filters are used at the input side and output side of the power converter system so as to reduce the harmonic level to an acceptable magnitude. So continuing with the peripheral effects, the input and output quantities of the converter could be either AC or DC, right? So the factors such as total harmonic distortion. So when I say harmonics are introduced, obviously we need to evaluate or calculate the value of harmonics. So these are the different terms that are used in power electronics to understand how much is the harmonics present in the signal. That indirectly tells you the quality of the waveforms. Okay, so harmonic THD is total harmonic distortion, that needs to be evaluated. Also there is a displacement factor and harmonic factor and input power factor, and they basically measure the quality of the waveform. For all of this I am going to need the value of harmonic that is present in the waveform. To evaluate the performance of a converter, the input and output voltages or currents of a converter are expressed in Fourier series. So this is where Fourier series is going to help us. If you see, the Fourier series is nothing but a single electrical signal is broken down into multiple frequency oriented signals. It's very similar to a white light when it is made to pass through a prism. The same light gets refracted into multiple number of colors, right? And that means a white light is made up of so many of colors. Like that, a single electrical signal can be broken down into n number of harmonics. Okay, and the fundamental signal is the one which will have more information than the other signals. Okay, so Fourier series is same as that. So the quality of power converter is judged by the quality of its voltage and current waveforms. So if I get a sine wave perfect, that means it is a harmonics are less. If I get distorted sine wave, then you will have harmonics present in that waveform. So the power converters can cause radio frequency interference during the electromagnetic radiation, and the gating circuits may generate erroneous signals. Because of this interference, the gating signal, like I want both of them, both the gates, opposite gates in inverters, opposite devices in the inverters to switch on at the same time. But because of these harmonics, one may switch on early, the other may switch on late. So because of that, the on time may differ. Okay, so the actual on time that is appearing across the load may change. So that may cause more distortions, okay, at the load. And these interference can be avoided by proper grounding and shielding. So radiations, electromagnetic, all these can be avoided if I provide a proper shielding, so they do not get out of that shield and disturb the nearby communication circuits or whatever. Now let us look at what are the advantages of electronic converters. So we just discussed the peripheral effects, and we know the main reason is the harmonics. Okay, and we have seen the various effects and how it can be eliminated by putting a filter at the input and at the output of the circuit. Next is advantages of power electronic converters. So the advantage is mass production. So we know a semiconductor device is basically made using wafers, and on a wafer you can have hundreds of devices that can be produced. Okay, so mass production will lead to less price. Next is highly reliable, because we know that if I'm operating the device in a given rated condition, maintaining all the manufacturer specified details, that device is going to function and give you a reliable output. Okay, so it is highly reliable, means it will give you the output what it is specified by the manufacturer, provided you use it in the rated condition as specified by the manufacturer. Highly efficient. Okay, so in most of these applications, these devices act like a switch, and we know that in both the modes of the switch, the on and off, the power loss in it is very less, and the switching losses are also very low. Negligible maintenance, because we do not have any moving parts, mechanical moving parts. It always results in a wear and tear. And since here we are using a semiconductor devices, by controlling the current flow, I am switching it on and off. There is nothing like mechanical movements, and hence almost there is negligible maintenance. And fast, of course, in comparison to a mechanical or electromechanical devices, the power electronic systems are much faster and give a good dynamic response. Next is the size. If you see a mechanical switch, it's so bulky, whereas these devices could be pretty small in size as compared, and also weigh less and occupy less space, and handling issues will also be less. Same as installation cost will be decreased, and also packaging and transportation prices and etc. So it does have a lot of advantages, and definitely that's the reason why power electronics and devices are booming out here. Of course, there are some disadvantages of power electronics converters. The main thing is harmonics. I have discussed about it, and it is injected because of the switching on and off of the devices, and it gets injected both at the input side and at the load side. Okay, and that actually causes a lot of trouble. Next is excessive heating. See, we are normally going to connect motors at the load, and these harmonics are going to cause heating at the motor, and more noise, more torsional vibrations of motor shaft, commutation issues in DC motors, etc. So this is the way the load will be affected by harmonics. And on the supply side, the performance of other equipments connected to the same supply is seriously affected by harmonics. It also leads to radio interference with communication lines, audio and video equipments. Next is, apart from this, the input side transformer also gets overheated and its efficiency gets reduced. So these harmonics have a lot of issues. They also produce something called as skin effects in the cables and hence more heating. Thus we need to install filters at the input side. Next disadvantage is low power factor. Certain power electronic converters operate at a very low input power factor, and hence it might be required to install reactive power compensation equipments. Next is low overhead capacity. Power electronic devices work on rated voltage and current provided proper heat evacuation system is provided. Excess current causes hot spots at junctions and burning of devices. We'll be learning this something about these hot spots when we are looking into transistors. Then high dV by dt leads to false triggering, and hence a power electronic device along with its needs compulsory protection arrangements such as a snubber circuit is required. But however, the advantages that we have seen in power electronic systems are so good or overwhelming that these disadvantages that I have just shown in the last time this particular slide, they get overshadowed and are continuously gaining popularity and exponentially increasing in the application. Now here are some of the recommended questions, okay, and I want you to note down these questions so that you can prepare an assignment and submit that assignment in a day that I specify. So state important applications of power electronics. What is static power converter? Name the different types of power converters and mention their functions. What are the differences between an SCR and BJT? Sometimes they ask you these questions. Difference between BJT and MOSFET. Okay. Then give the list of power electronic circuits of different input and output requirements. So this second question and fifth question very much similar, and you can discuss over that. What are peripheral effects of power electronic equipments and what are the remedies for them? There are other questions such as mention and explain the different types of power electronic converters. Draw their input and output characteristics. So you need to draw the block diagram. You need to draw that, let's say for rectifier, you need to draw the circuit diagram. You have to show the input waveform and the output waveform, all that I explained to you. So it is having 6 marks. And also here it is asking classification of power semiconductor devices on the basis of control characteristics. So we had that control characteristics like diode is uncontrolled turn on and turn off. So those kind of answers that needs to be written here and give example. And here give symbol characteristics and features of the following device. We know what a GTO is, symbol. What is the characteristics, what is triac, MOSFET and MCT. So you will have to please write as per the questions asked. So understand the question first, then write the answers. Next is mention any 4 properties of superpower devices should possess. So you have studied low power. I have explained to you about power devices. Please Google and understand, do a little survey and tell me for a superpower device what should be the 4 properties. Next is what is converter. This we have seen, classify and explain them briefly. Mention advantages and disadvantages of power converters. We just discussed that, and also discussed what are the peripheral effects. These are some of the questions that have appeared in the examination. So very similar questions are being asked. So you please prefer, see in the last one, compare general purpose, fast recovery and Schottky diodes. So I expect you to write all these questions. Don't repeat them, so that you prepare them for the final test and exam. Okay. So thank you. And if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to ask them either personally or through WhatsApp. Okay. Thank you.